Hey, been a couple of days, but we are back. We are back. Good evening. Hi. I'm just gonna get straight into today's stream because I've had a couple of days off, just still working away, still working late into the night and stuff, but just took a few days off of going live just to sort out a few things. I really wanted to knuckle down just because for some reason it is actually quite hard to be progressive and to be productive recording, working and talking at the same time. I'm usually just used to working away into the night without really having to do all of this speaking live bit, but yeah, made some progress. So as you can see behind me, or on the screen or whatever, the node tree that we've been working on is finally finished from an Obsidian perspective. So I've managed to connect everything. I'm happy with how everything is ingesting. There is quite a lot here, and this is currently just filtered down to just one LLM. This is just all Claude related at the moment, just so that I can actually manage to stream work. I've got several agents running away and doing other things in the background that I'll talk about, because I've also finished the well, not even finished, I've finished implementing the loop that I was building while I was kind of going through my motions in terms of my manual process. I was showcasing on the first several streams, so that's actually currently in action. Also posted up several skills, handoff scripts and things of that nature as well on my GitHub, so that is also currently on my channel somewhere. It's linked. There's a link on my channel available, so check that out if that's of interest. But today I actually wanted to go through the autonomous build in terms of how I've structured that, because obviously I've been talking about it in the background and kind of progressing through it, but I thought it would be a good idea just to kind of showcase what that is now, in terms of like the full end-to-end item that's running in the background. I will actually switch to it as well, just so you can see it is doing a couple of items on two current work streams, and then I'll talk you through what it is that it's actually doing at the moment, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. So I'm just gonna switch these two things off. So as you can see, within my Claude Code there are a couple of background tasks running. I've got a fast task that's running, or fast loop that's running, and then I've got a slow loop that's running in the background. Both of those are attached to different work streams, and then you've got items here that are listed as completed, a few tasks that are listed as completed within that one specific project, and then just opening up another project here. It's the same thing. We've got an agent that's running, that's sorting out an integrated dashboard fix, but then you can see a list of other completed tasks and things of that nature. So just so that it's been a couple of days, so I just want to get my bearings again in terms of talking to you guys while I'm working away and trying not to think about 1,000 different things. So I thought if I draw this out, it'll help me structure things a bit. On today's stream, I'm actually going to talk about how I've actually been getting on with Fable 5 as well. So this is actually currently running. So I've switched a couple of my agents that are doing the builds over to Fable just to test that out. The burn rate is crazy, but they have been respecting my token budgeting and things like that. So I'll again be able to show you where I've plugged them in, where I've integrated it, where I've hard coded it, and then in terms of the controls and things like that, where I've tested it within my projects as well. I'll be able to document that and go through that as well. So without further ado, I'm not going to switch over to my Spotify. I'm actually don't know why that's popped up, but I'm going to switch over to my, hopefully, yeah, cool. So my autonomous build. So obviously, as I've been going along, I've been following a specific orchestration or specific frameworks in terms of building. And I explained on my last stream, I've been doing that quite methodically, just because I like to understand every aspect of what I'm putting in or letting the LLM do around my code base, around my project folders, and all of that good stuff. While I was doing that, obviously I mentioned the error rate has been pretty much non-existent. I've not had to go and do crazy revisions. I'm not trying to one-shot anything. And obviously, hopefully, when I go through all of these steps as well, you'll be able to see that the aim of this isn't to try and like one-shot anything. I am still involved in the loop. I am still involved in terms of certain key forks and things like that. So I'm just gonna show you exactly what this is, exactly what I've put together, and then talk you through it. It is running in the background. I've just showed you within my Claude Code. So I've tested it in a couple of places as well. I think running it headlessly is the best way to run it at the moment, and I'll explain why. So what I've done is script the whole framework essentially. So I've got a couple of things running. So there's a crun loop that's running as a fast with a fast clock on it, in terms of it'll run and refresh every hour, but I'm going to change that to every 20 minutes if I'm kind of sat on my computer. I don't want it to be too fast, but if I'm doing other things or whatever else, or during the daytime where I've got it running, where I'm not really trying to be looking at what the agents are doing or being prompted for approvals and things like that, I'll run it a bit slower. So I've got an initial, like, you know, in the session wake up, I've got the loop initiates, a couple of hooks and things like that are armed, and I've got my session start hook is armed. This is linked to things like checking for the handoff, and again the handoff script, the handoff skill I've put in the on my GitHub. I've also put all of the helper scripts as well, in terms of just the improvement to them, so that you're not having to constantly check your context window to compact your token utilization. All of that is on my GitHub and there for you to kind of repurpose and ask one of your agents or whatever to plug it into your LLM. You can also obviously adapt it to fit codecs if that's what you want to do. Just run the conversion and that will work. So what does this do? So I've got 2 session clocks running, a fast and a slow, and obviously I'll be able to explain to you what those are. So the fast is actually reversed for working on repicking up tasks, checking the current slice, checking the current phase of work that's required to be done, and more of just like kind of repeating the TDD, so the test, develop, deploy framework, and then anything that's kind of iterative. And then I've got a slow session running as well, and again that's geared more towards things like researching planning ahead. So again, the look ahead and plan ahead skill, I've also put that on my GitHub as well, so that you can see what that skill does, and that skill is linked to this slow process that's running. So again, while the slow session is processing all of the current iterative steps, once it's completing things and whatever else, the slower one is actually now spinning up agents to start running perplexity searches for what's best practice in terms of the next thing that it's going to plug in, researching other options, running audits, running sweeps across the code base. Again, just checking progressively to make sure, okay, is this session actually finished? What's the token burns like? Things like that, right? So again, I'll document all of this as just kind of a whistle stop tour of how this is running. And I can arm it in two ways. So I can run it as a completely autonomous run and do your own thing, the full works, or I can still manually trigger it from here in terms of the build loop skill triggering. I can then run it at a tick at a time, and that just means running the next slice or the next action one at a time from a manual prompt, and it will do that regardless of what the clocks are doing. But I don't want to I found a few potholes that I've plugged up and whatever else, just because it messes up with the sessions. There have been a few bugs with regards to running this on across two different projects at a time, so I've had to make it respect link a specific session to a specific project, so that when it's doing the handover or when it's checking the session progress or whatever else, it's still referencing and respecting which project I'm actually working on. So then I've got the control loop, and now this is where most of the stuff is happening. So I've got a conductor that's obviously reading the current slice of work, the progress. So if it's handed off, if it's a completely new slice, obviously this is now what's reading the slice.py. It's checking that all of the right items are pulled, all of the right skills and all of the right hooks and things like that are actually drawn up. So it'll pull all of those. It'll spawn up any agents that's needed. It'll also checks all of the handoff items as well, so in terms of checking the tokens and everything else like that. And then it will talk to several agents with regards to, okay, what stage are we on? What are we actually doing now? Are we planning? Whatever else like that. It will consult the settings.py so that all of our governance is respected. And then it continually go through this process until that loop or that slice of work is done. And now, just to kind of, again, just to get into a little bit more detail in terms of what this is, and to talk about how I've now plugged, or where I've actually plugged Fable 5 in. So let's say, for example, now this is exactly what one of the sessions or this is exactly what one of the slices of work would look like, right? So if you imagine, I've not imagine, but let me pull up so you can see the actual example. So let me go over here. Right, cool. So you've got, when I was talking about the fast and slow session, so you can see here this loop is running every hour at 11 past the hour. So in 28 minutes, it's going to trigger the next slice of work and just concentrate on just that, right? But then all of these other mechanisms and all of these other agents are working within each of these. So it's got specific agents within a specific loop cadence, right? So then they're doing separate tasks, and obviously it's going to make more sense when I switch back to the diagram, just because, yeah, there's a lot of words and things like that going around. So essentially on session start, this is what it looks like. So I've continued from handoff at the top. You can see it there, and I'll explain why having to do this bit manually, because it's the local orchestration session, but all of the handoff and things like that is also still being respected at sub agent level. So even though, let's say for example on this particular context window, I'm at 103 K tokens. Each of these, like so for example the build persistent event slice, the agent completed it in 2 minutes, whatever, used 39 K tokens, and then all of these other agents that it would have drawn up within that particular session or slice of work would still be able to hand off to other sub agents, and that's not going to impact the core context window of what I'm doing in terms of from an orchestration perspective within my main context window. So if there's any kind of forks that need my decision, or if a summary at the end of it, that's where I'm doing a formal handoff and continue, just so that in terms of an orchestration perspective, I'm still keeping that context window small and handing off and doing like a cron delete and things like that, just so that it kills that particular session. And then when I open a new session up, it's firing up and picking up from where I left off, and all of the agents is just firing everything up, everything back up. So yeah, there's a few layers to this that are working all, you know, simultaneously, and I'll be able to just go through that with you and see how that's kind of working. But I've not had to touch it much unless it's come to me with a decision, or we've gotten to a sprint, the end of a sprint of work, and there's a grill me session that's happened where I need to make a decision that influences a fork, and if I don't do that within the hour, it'll go with the recommended, but it'll flag and note it somewhere that this decision was made without me. I can go back to that decision and just kind of approve it, as I said in my previous stream. So let me just quickly go back to the browser. So essentially that's what's happening here. So in terms of the resume, I've got that set to resume the body of work. Steering, again, this is just kind of more checking the plan, what slice are we on, that sort of thing. So I've got that set to a Sonnet agent. And then research, I've got set to Sonnet plus web. And this is kind of, again, respecting my research MD. Sorry, research.md that I've got in the settings .json. So again, this whole research element of things is things like my grill me. I've got perplexity working in here as well. So all of that is happening. From the research, I'm getting the plan, and the plan I'm using Opus. Again, just because I want to be thorough, clear. I don't want any kind of ambiguity between those two. So I've chosen a slightly higher cost just to create that plan. And then once the plan's created, it comes to me to make a decision in terms of which direction are we actually going in. And it will, at this stage, all work will become idle until I've made that decision. So you can see my little icon here. Clay has to actually make a decision here. So I've got to make a decision. Once I've made that decision, in terms of which direction we're going to go on, it then triggers my build. It triggers the freeze, and then it tests that gate. And again, for here, I've used my workhorse. So it's just a Haiku agent. Doesn't need to be big and clever, because all it's doing is going off to the settings and the spec, and it's just it's making that edit. It's locking in the work, and it's basically saying this is now no longer editable by any agent, and it's a repeatable thing, because it's all written in a way that it can't get that wrong. Once it's done that, this is kind of like my most not cost effective, my most expensive agent at the moment, is the builder. And as I said, I've made this particular tweak just so that I can test how much it's actually costing me, or not costing me, because it's still within my plan, but how is this workflow going to work with Fable, just looking at the differences in terms of the quality of the outputs and things like that. So I set this to inherit the parent session. So I just made a quick pivot. It was Opus before. I've tested it with Sonnet as well. Not too many bugs and whatnot, but I didn't want I didn't want to be compromising on the actual code. And you can obviously play around with these, and it's been developed in a way where it's got a great level of swappability, because all I'm doing is changing a role, changing what model I've assigned the particular agent that's going to be responsible for the build task, and then once that's changed, it's pretty much live. We've got the gate.py, and again, this is just the governance layer, so it creates all of the gates in terms of what's acceptable, what constitutes a pass, what constitutes as a fail, and then that's also then frozen, and then this just goes around in a loop of work until it's actually done, right? So then you see, once that's done, the handoff is handed off. Sorry, not the handoff is handed off. The audit is done every 2 slices. So again, this is something that's happening up here on my slower track. So everything like audit related and whatever else, that's happening on a slower track, just because it's not something I'm having to do regularly, and I need something that's got a full view of progress across the whole project. So that's happening every 2 tracks. So that's in memory there. It's being called from memory there. And then I've got a handoff functionality here, and this is again just based off the token utilization. As soon as the context gets above 135 or 140, I might have hard set it to 140k tokens, it triggers a handoff on the completion of the last prompt that it was given, and then it iterates this until it gets to the next slice of work, and then it starts the whole process again. And this just loops around and loops around and loops around and loops around until it gets to the end of the project. And in terms of governance, safety, and things like that, we've ring-fenced the agents with least privilege tools. There are circuit breakers in terms of token utilization. Then we've got this the wrong way around. Cool. And then obviously I've got tick lock, a single driver per repository. And again, I can bypass this as well. So I can run it in terms of just like arm the full autonomous build, or I can run it and, you know, trigger the autonomous build 1 tick, and that would just do 1 tick at a time. So that's all. Yes, how you doing, man? So that will all tick off 1 tick at a time. the verification gates again are respected here in this test.py, so that quantifies and qualifies all of the test gates. And then the rule, sorry, none of the agents can actually nice. What change did you make to your product? Was it the visuals? So then obviously this will continue to loop until it's completely finished doing what it's doing. Until it's finished doing what it's doing on the loop. So right off this, you can see that this is essentially what's happening here on the right hand side. I've got the various tasks that have been running with the completion against each one, and then as it's running away and doing what it's got to do, it will come back to me with a status. So for example here, run test failed, red, it will iterate TDD cadence, and it will continue like that all the way until the task is actually completed. So yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at. It's been a long a couple of days not being obviously able to stream, but I've been in the background away doing what I need to do. So with that said, and with that kind of established now, I've been working on. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, that's just a quick overview, and I will kind of put that architecture into a document as well, and post it up on my repo. Yeah, I'll tidy it up and post it up on my repo, and then any skills that this touches and things like that, I'll kind of generalize them. Then oh nice, I was looking into quantum computing and logic too. Nice. Helps me. Oh, thank you, man. If it helps, and yeah, and I think with the quantum builds, it's yeah, just make sure that you've got a nice big machine for that. Yeah, nice. Obviously with that as well, you can repurpose it for thingy as well, for GPT or Codex, whatever you're using as well. But yeah, no stress at all, man. No stress. Just drop me a link to your thing and I'll check it out after the stream. I'm not going to be streaming for too long today. I was just kind of giving a quick update in terms of where I am, because now I'm going to be it's like I've managed to finish the core hub to this now as well. So I've finished importing and ingesting everything. All the relationship matrices are done. So I can now actually start plugging this into various other systems. I wanted to do it in a way where I've actually got what's it called? I've got the core hub where I can see this in Obsidian. For me, I can utilize it for other things locally. But then for the systems that I'm building, I'm now going to put it into a 3D data model. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it into a 3D data model. I was looking at Matplotlib, but that is more for flat plotting, so I'm going to use a slightly different one, and GPU render, because I'll be able to map more things to it and then render it slightly differently so that I'm still getting Obsidian level performance from it, but then I can quickly do all of I can use Python to do all of the other I guess the data mapping and everything else that I need to do calculation wise for what I'm hoping to use this for. And then once I've finished that, obviously I'll be able to present it on stream and kind of show you guys what I have been working on, because this bit's not overly impressive. Obsidian already exists. This is software that's freely available. It's taken me a few days to just kind of map it and do all of the other data aspects that I wanted to do. So in terms of like the signal strength, mapping the roles to it, mapping the all of the basically the weighting and things like that, because that doesn't come out of the box. So I've had to do the calculations on that front and build the logic on that front so that we've got something that sits between the data and then the nodes actually appearing in here. So now that that's been done, I can now, I'm now at a point where I can utilize that in other systems now, and then actually add the intelligence layer to it, to make it more alive. And you'll be able to see that anyway. I've got a project that's probably about 3 weeks away from delivery, that's going to make all of this kind of finally feel a bit more real in terms of Clay. You've been showing us pretty much the same thing every single stream, but there is method to the madness, and hopefully you'll find the loop logic useful in terms of all of this side of things, because now I don't need to touch my my agents as much. I don't need to kind of sit there approving every single bit, because I've tested this now, and it just works out of the box. There are a couple of things where I need to kind of like edit here and there, where I need to give slightly different guidance. So I'll give you an example. So I was running this within Cursor initially, but the session handoff wasn't working how I wanted it to, because within Cursor you can't automate the actual context. Like basically once you get to the end of a session, or the token gets to a certain point, you can't trigger a close of a session and then the start of a new session unless you're doing that headlessly. And the only way that you can kind of do that is with Windows Task Scheduler and things like that. And that felt a bit too overkill for what I wanted to do. So I thought, okay, if I'm using these two tracks in terms of the fast-paced slice specific workload, and then the agents have still got that ability to do the handoff, because once you enter like the phase 3 in terms of the pipeline, that's really where the context is going to matter most. All of this other stuff is mostly dealing with Python scripts, hooks and stuff that are already written as scripts. Context, you can't get lost here context wise. The handoff really pays off and matters most at this level where I'm in phase 3, where I'm having to worry about all of these different models, all of these different tasks, where the context is most I guess the biggest risk, because if I've got, let's say for example, my build agent here, let me actually go to light mode here, because crazy. Okay, that I really hate working on light mode. So my build agent here is the most or the least cost effective, because that's currently, obviously I'd hard coded it to Opus like this before, but I wanted to see what Fable 5 could do, and the actual burn rate. So I set it to inherit. I played around with different pacing, different token costings as well, again just to see, just to just to check out what the actual impact of the token utilization would be, or the burn through rate would be. It's been quite high. It's taken me probably I want to say 3 to 4 hours to get of using it on high across, let's say, 3 projects at a time, running the autonomous loop to get to my 5-hour limit. And that's on a max, a Claude Max account. My weekly limit reset yesterday. Yeah, Thursday. So yesterday morning around 3 a.m. is when my weekly limit reset, and I'm pretty sure I'm already at okay, that's bad. I'm already at 34% usage, and I've got 6 days left before that particular weekly limit resets. But again, as I said, I've been running Fable 5 on high. Yeah, I've been running Fable 5 on high across 3 different projects at a time. So I'm still running 5 Claude Pro on 5 Claude Pro accounts. What do you mean you're running on? Oh, as in like what, the max times 5, like the $100 account? I'm confused. Right now I'm running on 5 Claude Pro account. Is what do you mean? Because if you I sent you the link. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check the link in a second. Yeah. Just give me a sec. I'll check. Oh yeah, but okay. So, but what, you're using 5 of those? Because for the cost of 5 of them, you could just buy the Claude Max for $100. No? Okay, so, yeah, dude, just pay once, because if you're having to do that, it subsidizes you anyway. So paying for the one that's times 5, you're good. All right, let me just quickly mute all of the sound settings, because I've just opened up Discord to check out the link that you've sent me. But sometimes I hit the limit on all of them, and still, yeah. No, that's why I was saying, like, this, because I had a conversation with someone recently, just about like token budgeting. Like, as long as you're setting everything up with the right what's it called? Copy message link, with channeling everything through to the right agent and the right model, you won't hit limits like that. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've got some feedback. I'm looking at I've got the system up on my side. I've not set up my screen for that, just because I've got to have all my other windows on a particular screen, but I am looking at it now. My suggestion would be just, the background, just dim it more, and then try and use high res images. Yeah, because the image quality on the background on my 4K screen is a bit pixelated. I'll send you a link on Discord. Yeah. I'll send you a link on Discord. If you want like rewrite images and stuff, and they're all 4K images. And you can get everything. It's kind of like Shutterstock or Apple Stock, whatever Apple's version of it is. Not Apple, Adobe stocks. And it's got everything on there if you need free write videos and things like that, images. But yeah, try and use a high res image and then increase the it's because you're painting eyes. No, man, my eyes are good. The glasses are just for my screens. Yeah, no, I'll send that to you now. Just so that you can get high res images. And then if you can dim the background image, add more, like reduce the opacity so that it's darker. Just again for accessibility settings, just so that there's more contrast between the background image and the text. And then try and put like with the navigation, because I know that if I scroll I can move to the next thing, but it's not clickable. So let's say, for example, if I'm on mission control, I can scroll and get to orbit, I can scroll and get to sector, I can scroll and get to terrain, but the navigation at the top right is not clickable. So if you can make the navigation clickable, I think it would be good. No, that's fine. And then wow, shock. That would be my suggestion. But yeah, no, this is a lot better than how it was before. I like this a lot. Yeah, because you've got the navigation on the left is clickable, but again, it took me all this time I was talking, I didn't see the dots on the left of the page where you can actually click. So if you can make the text on the right hand side clickable so that you can navigate that way, it would just improve the user experience. And then dim the background more, because I know that you want to see the background, but it goes to, again, what I was saying yesterday. Was it yesterday that we were talking? Yeah, I think yesterday that you messaged me on Discord. So if you can reduce the background brightness, that would help you again with the accessibility settings, because that's still something that you get scored on. But other than that, yeah, I like it. It's it does what it says on the tin. But yeah, just reduce that. Remember your audience as well, with regards to all of the moving things like that. If it's not necessary, don't put it on there. Depends what you want exactly your audience to do. Don't let things be a distraction just because you think it looks nice or whatever else. Make things that you're putting on the page practical and actionable. I've sent you that link for the stocks. Yeah, so that includes free download. You don't have to pay, you don't have to put any credit cards or whatever. So dim the background more for better accessibility settings and brightness, and then also make the top right navigation clickable, and it takes you to the proper sections, like the dots on the left. Yeah, and I'd probably make the dots on the left so like when you're on that section, let the dot be on, and the page title also show. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah. That's what I would say. Nah, it's all good, man. Anytime. But yeah, that's what I would say. Cool. Where was I? Yeah, so I'm gonna just quickly go back to this. Just to explain where I'm at with this and what's coming up. Because I'm a bit tired. I'm not gonna stay on the stream too long today. So the brain. Cool. So now, as I was saying, all of the libraries are now wired up to this, and it's ingesting in real time. So anything that's being picked up, any conversations, any decisions that are being made, everything is happening in real time. See you later. Laura. I was catching a bit. Yeah, no problem. Look out for the project files as well for the autonomous build. I'll send you a link to that. It probably won't be public. I'll see how I feel. I've got a few things that I need to just quickly change in it, but I'll send it your way. And then I'll put the frameworks in there as well for the token utilization. Just so that, again, because you said that you're burning through, you're getting to your limits like pretty much every day. So I'll send that across to you with the frameworks and the scripts to help you with that. It's the thing that I was talking about here, where you're dividing up the each agent, you're assigning it, you're hard coding it, the model that it should be using, and then when you've got all of this in place, and then you drop in the skill that's currently on my Git, you'll be able to link that up to this. So then when you're triggering the handoff, so I'll send you the loop document as well. I'll send you the loop framework. No drama. So yeah, when you set up the handoff skill and the handoff helper, that's built into this loop, in terms of like this loop recognizes the handoff. It's down here in terms of the governance. So any handoff and token checks, that will check back, so that it's always compacting and sending. Remember what I've been talking about the last few days with regards to sending stuff to the temp folder, or sending your summaries to the temp folder instead of keeping it in your project folder. So it's all of those items and all of that kind of best practice is baked in. I haven't got it displayed here because it's overkill to kind of do all of those explanations, but in terms of all of the MD documents, all of the setting.json and stuff like that, that's all baked into there. So what I'll probably do is, once I've got time, is to create like a generic version of this that you can then pull, tweak it, make it your own and whatever else, plug it into your project folder, and then build a loop around it. And then you shouldn't be hitting limits, because yeah, even if you were using a Claude Pro account, all you'd have to do is just change this. I'll change it back so that it's not inheriting your parent agent or model within the chat itself, so that even if it's building, it's all assigned the correct one, and then you can swap and change them based off of your quality output, or how much you want to kind of give them each. So then you see, and okay, cool, each session or every hour I'm burning up this many tokens. I'm nowhere near my limit. Where can I best spend those extra tokens? Should I give it more to the build agent? Should I give it more to the planner? Just like that, because that's what I've been testing over the last several few months and whatever else, doing it the manual way, is okay, if I give most of the higher models to the planner and the researcher, does that actually trickle down and make it to the last slice? And 9 times out of 10, no. Let's say, for example, the auditor, if I make the auditor dumb, it's not going to catch many of the bugs and clear them. So I have to map this out in a way where I'm getting the most efficiency, and I'm looking for quality, not speed. So yeah, that's, I'll drop that in to the Git. You've already obviously got that somewhere. Give me a follow, and I'll send you a link as well, obviously, on your Discord. So yeah, cool. But yeah, that's essentially this. I wasn't going to stay online long today because I am tired. I've pretty much been blasting it until 3 a.m. Most nights. So even though I've not been streaming, it's just because I wanted to catch up on a couple of projects. I wanted to really launch this so that I'm more hands off, and I can kind of again progress more, because I've been working on refining it and really building it in a way that fits how I like to do it. So I'm still very much in the loop. I'm still got very much, much oversight. I can plug myself into the loop when I want. And then in the background, I am building something special. So yeah, that's essentially where we're at. And I think that's where I'm going to end up killing the stream today. Just a short and sweet one. And I will be back tomorrow. Have a good evening, and thank you again for tuning in.